皆様、本日は米国アカデミー賞公認国際短編映画祭ショートフィルムフェスティバル&アジア日本博 2.0 文化庁が主催する国際会議 The Future of Filmmaking with AI 創造性、共同、倫理の探求にご参加いただきましてありがとうございます。私、映画祭のエグゼクティブディレクターを務めます東野聖吾と申します。本日はモデレーターを務めますのでどうぞよろしくお願いいたします。こちら1999年俳優の別所哲也がアメリカンショートフィルムフェスティバルを立ち上げ、2001年全世界のショートフィルムを紹介するショートフィルムフェスティバルに改名し、2004年からは東京都共催で日本を含むアジアの作品を紹介するショートフィルムフェスティバルアジアを、アジアが別途創立されました。それ以来2つの映画祭がショートフィルムフェスティバル&アジアという名前で6月に同時開催しています。第1回目からスター・ウォーズで有名なジョージ・ルーカス監督からも毎年応援メッセージなどをいただいておりまして、現在映画祭のグランプリ作品には世界初ルーカス監督の名前を冠したジョージ・ルーカスアワードが授与されます。また当映画祭は本国のアカデミー賞公認を受けておりまして、コンペティション部門であるインターナショナル部門、アジアインターナショナル部門、ジャパン部門、アニメーション部門、ノンフィクション部門の5つの部門の最優秀賞が次年度のアカデミー賞短編部門に推薦されます。去年の応募作品ですね、海外から集まった応募作のちょっと履歴になるんですけれども、今日ご参加いただけるパネリストの国にちょっと限ってですね、少しオレンジ色でつけてみました。こちらコンペで言いますと、3500本ぐらい集まってきてるんですけれども、こちらアメリカがダントツに多くてですね、その次日本、そしてフランス、そして韓国も152本となっています。そして今日そうですね、イランのテヘラン国際短編映画祭の方もご出席されますが、イランからもアジアでは非常に多く104本応募いただいています。そしてドイツ、メキシコ、そして次のスライドお願いします。そうですね、こうした国々からも応募いただいておりまして、そして次ですね、はい、今日アフリカはセネガルから、パネリストも登壇されます。セネガルからも2本こちら、応募がありました。はい、ありがとうございます。そしてコンペ以外他の部門も含めてですね、毎年4000本から5000本ぐらい集まる映画祭なんですけれども、この近年 AI を活用したショートフィルムの応募がすごく急増しております。はい、2004年にはそうですね、世界114の国と地域から4936本の応募があり、そのうち112本約 2% が AI を取り入れた作品でした。そして翌年、去年ですね、今年すいません、失礼しました。2025年には108の国と地域から4592本の応募があり、 AI を活用した作品は275本と約 6% に増加しています。こちら AI の使われ方も多様化しまして、色調補正やボイスオーバー、エフェクト、ストーリーボード制作などツールとしての活用が進む一方で、全編 AI 生成の作品も数は少なくなってきてるんですけれども、少しずつ今増えている感じはします。そして現在2026年の応募状況、今現在の応募状況では2557本集まっているうちに147本がAI を使用しておりまして、割合としては今の昨年と同じ 6% です。しかし応募締め切りが来年の1月末になりますので、さらに増加すると予想されます。このように AI 技術は映画制作の現場に確実に今浸透しておりまして、その存在感を強めています。本日の会議ではこうした流れを踏まえ AI と映像表現の未来について10名の国際的なパネリストの皆様と共に議論してまいります。はい、こちらで本日のディスカッション内容全体構成を共有してまいります。はい、 私のこのオープニングの後ですね、早速、ディスカッション1、パネルディスカッション、創造性と共同について、そして、少しちょっと休憩を挟みまして、パネルディスカッションパート2ということで、倫理の探求、そしてパート3、AI 映像の未来展望で、パネリストの方が未来どうなっていくのかと、そのあたりを、お話しいただければと思います。はい、ではここでですね、早速パネリストの皆様の紹介をいたします。かなり全世界からですね、お越しいただきました。今日は本当に私も楽しみにしております。創造性とコラボレーションというタイトルで、お話しいただきます。はい、質問ですね。ここでまずちょっと皆さんにお手元に丸と×のプレートをお持ちいただいているんですけれども、ちょっとまず皆さんにこちら現時点において AI は芸術的なパートナーであるか、それともクリエイティブを加速するツールに過ぎないのか、どうなのか、こちらちょっとお考えを聞いてみたいと思います。AI は芸術的なパートナーであるとお考えの方、丸を上げていただけますか。そうですね、かなり、はい、皆さん丸と考えられていらっしゃいます。はい、今のところ、クリエイティブを加速するツールと思われる方、はい、はい、山口さん、はい、丸と×もどちらもってことですね。それではですね、串田さん、先ほどちょっとこうね、丸と×、少しためられたところもあったと思うんですけれども、串田さんにこの質問をまず聞く前にですね、串田さん、こちらこの夏、そちらにいらっしゃいますプチョン国際短編映画祭でAI の部門において優秀賞を獲得されたということで、おめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
はい、ちょっとせっかく串田さんの発言の前にどんな作品を撮られたのかということで、ちょっとこの予告編を準備してますので、串田さんの作品「ラストドリーム」という作品ですが、予告編ご覧ください。
これはですね、僕この「ラストドリーム」っていうのを約半年間かけて作ったんですけど、その時にこの AI っていうのは今までのツールとは全く違うなと感じました。むしろこの芸術的なパートナーと呼んでいいと思います。というのが、このストーリーが地球が最後を迎えて、で46億年の記憶が走馬灯のように現れるというストーリーなんですね。で記憶をテーマにした作品で AI で、画像を作るときって、言葉で指示するんですよ。AI が何かを記憶をAI っていうのはその人類の記憶の集合体なんで、そこを引き出す術は言葉しかないんですね。で言葉であなたの記憶を引き出す、その AI の記憶を引き出すっていうのが今までのツールとは全く違って、むしろすでに持っている記憶はそのまま出してくれるし、まだない記憶はこちらがアップロードして、それを理解していただいてというかしてもらって出してもらうと、そういう意味ではすごく対話をする してお互いに、一つの方向に向かって作っていくというところが僕はパートナーという存在に近いかなと思いますね。
はい、ちなみにこの、ラストドリームなんですけれども、半年で作られたということなんですが、少しちょっともう少しプロセス的に少しお話しいただけますか。はい、
ちなみにこの中で AI を作って映像を作られたことがあるっていう方いらっしゃいます？たくさんいらっしゃいますね。でも半分7割8割はまだないかもしれないんですけど、作り方を説明すると、先ほども言ったんですけど、画像制作ソフトで言葉を入れるんですよ。例えば木がの、画像が欲しかったら木って入れるんですね。でそうしたら、画像ソフトが木を出してくるんで、それに対して、もっと背景は青空でとか曇りでとか、そういうのをどんどん言葉で定義していく、ディレクションしていくっていう方法なんですね。でそれを作って、今度は映像化、画像を映像化するアプリにそれを入れて、木からパンアップしてくださいとかいう指示を出したりして、徐々に自分が作りたいイメージを作っていくと。で言葉で対話しますから、もう将棋指してるような感じなんですね。伝わらなかったら何て言えば伝わるんだろうって長考をするんで、こっちは20分30分こうそれはで、だから僕は1日に5秒とか6秒とかしか作れなかったんで、時間1日5秒6秒作って100日それをやって600秒作ったんですけど、それはちょっと全く違うなと思いました。僕20年間映像プロダクションの経験がありますけど、向かい合って、チェスとか将棋してる感覚にちょっと近いと思いましたね。使い分けます。はい、一つの映像を作るのに、まずセリフを作るソフトで、音楽を作るソフトで、静止画を作るソフト、静止画を高画質にするソフトで、動画にするソフト、動画をまたアップスケールソフト、最低6個は使ってますね。
マルセル・バルトッソッティさんですが、先日木曜日に東京都写真美術館で彼のAI 最新作「インペリア」という作品を、プレミア上映しまして、今日はそちらの予告編もありますので、マルセルさんの発言の前にちょっとご覧いただければと思います。
Millions of years ago, cubes were sent from the planet Kryon to Earth. The Sorens studied the humans and were captured by the cubes on their planet.
Hey Jay, why don't you use a ThinkWriter?
I can't localize the signal at the moment.
How about you get involved, Lily? Her new research is groundbreaking.
I hope this idiotic radix scan works this time. Oh my god.
The Mordraths, our masters on Kryon, are working on their prophecy, the Master Dome.
We are almost at the coordinates of the signal.
Let's see what we find. Mr. General, you're hiding something from me. Where is he? Oh my god!
Go to the renewal chambers.
Go.
The Master Dome must be completed.
Dome. You have to come with me.
Drod, we go through the cubes?
Dark Lord Scar, we have registered several intruders.
I will not allow that.
You must take the corridor toward the Master Dome.
She is much stronger.
You alone will find out, Lily.
Okay, so thank you very much that you have invited us to Tokyo to this conference, and well, people are here, and then thank you very much that you're interested in artificial intelligence filming. So at first, what can I say? I'm since 30 years international film composer, worked with Luc Besson, John Goodman, David Van Ham, and other directors and producers together in Los Angeles also. And 2 years ago, I decided to become a director. They thought in Germany he's ill now or something else because why you don't continue your career. But I'm since a child interested in new technologies and in science fiction movies. So I decided to realize my first movie, Transformation, with a very old technology. It's 1.5 years ago, where I realized this film. And yes, and now I'm started with a premiere in Toronto and then in Japan now with Imperial, and it's Imperial, a total new technology. Maybe I talk about this technology and the tools I used. And the problem in making artificial intelligence movie is one of my first and very famous directors in Germany told me it's not important the technology, it's important the story about the film. So the script we write together with my wife Gundula. And so first you have a good script, and Imperial is about 40 minutes, a script about 50 sides and pages. And what is difficult? I came from the film industry, and it's important that you have consistent characters and consistent screenplays and scenes and aliens and cities. And this is the problem in artificial intelligence, because the next prompt becomes other. And so in the next scene, you main actor has long hairs, and then in the third scene, the next main actor has other clothes or something else. So I decided to realize the technology, like in the CGI technology, but first I created the first prompts, also the actors, the characters, the animals, the aliens, the starships, all what you see in Imperial now. And then after that, with a green screen IA technology, I put all the things together in one picture. And so I can decide it with a RE prompting for the next scene, that I have the same camera, the same actors, the same clothes of the actors, and put away one character and add another character. For example, there's a scene with a dog, with the actor together, and when I put together all in one picture, and then I make a prompt, a motion prompt, so where all begins to move exactly in the script we make together. And this is a technology which helps me to make real films with the tools of artificial intelligence technology, because I want to make real films. I remember when I started Transformation, all this I don't have it. And so much problems of mistakes you've seen in the film. And I thought that the technology becomes from day to day better. And yes, and so this is my experience, and the other experience is also how I get emotions in the film with the tools. And the tools are for me a professional art to make artificial intelligence movie. It's not for me like a hobby, so I used this in the film. What I don't use is, because I was a film composer and also editor, all the other things are real in my film. So the music is real, our script is real, the sound design is real. I make Imperial for myself. So all the movies I make for myself. I compose, I edit, I make the 5.1 Dolby surround mix and a lot of stuff. And this is real because, okay, you can make all with artificial intelligence, but I come from the industry, and so it's important for me that there are some real things. but for example, the dialogues also are made with technology from artificial intelligence softwares. Yes, and it's a lot of work. We worked about 6 months for Imperia, and with about, I don't know, 5,500 scenes and about 30,000 prompts to realize this. And yes, it's a hard work, and I think that real filmmaking is maybe more easier.
Yeah.
The screenplays together, and initially, I guess there is no big difference between real and AI films, and yes, he said he answered all all the questions before. The problems start when you start prompting, because the prompts never come out as you want them to come out. And well, so we have to rewrite over and over and over again, many times, and that makes us work for half a year, almost half a year. And well, I guess he explained quite a lot of what you're asking me.
いいですね。日本から山口博樹監督の最新作、グランマレビトという作品があるんですけども、ちょっと山口監督にもお話聞く前に、グランマレビトの、ちょっと予告編もご覧いただければと思います。こちら今年の夏に劇場公開も、はい、された映画ということで、はい、こちらもご覧ください。
In a distant future, somewhere in the far corners of Asia, in the shadow of progress, psychics moved unseen.
2 evolved automatons are rampaging after escaping. They are currently fleeing through District 5. Confirmed backup call. All available wizard units.
To suppress the rampaging evolved automatons, the government deployed retired soldiers. Enhanced with special gear known as boosters, they wielded extraordinary powers and came to be known as wizards.
I didn't hear about there being 2 rampaging evolved mutants.
It's been a while, Granny Levy.
Are you really serious?
It's an unfamiliar looking car.
This is bad. This is bad. I've never seen this level of abnormal evolution.
Where the heck did the other one go?
Deletion complete. Turning machines into weapons, it's the folly of fools.
Ever seen a world run by saints? Me neither.
Where light and shadow intersect. Her choice will shape the city's future.
Find them, quickly.
Got it.
Was it evolution or desire that ran wild?
I'm sorry.
You monster.
All that remains is the decision.
.今見ていただいたグランマレビトが私 AI で作る3作目に当たるんですが、今年の夏に日本で劇場公開をしておりました。で、私は20年ほど前から実写の映画を作ってまして、で基本的には SF が大好きで SF をオリジナルの物語で作りたいっていうのをずっとやってきてまして、でも低予算で SF 映画を作ろうとするとすごい苦労がたくさんありまして、ずっとそれに悩まされてきていて、でその中で、2年ほど前に生成 AI 使った映像に出会いまして、でそこで今お話しされてた2人の監督の映像を見ても分かるように、皆さんがっつり SF ですね。で私の作品も SF ですごく AI が作る映像と SF が相性がいいんですね、まずは。で私も2年前にそれをすごい感じて、これ今まで自分ができなかったことができるようになるはずだと思って AI の勉強を始めたのが2023年の後半ぐらいですね。そこからいろいろと試行錯誤しながら短編を作ってきて、今のグランマレビトがだいたい15分ぐらいの短編で、他の2人別の監督が日本人でいるんですけど、その3人でオムニバスでジェネレイドスコープというタイトルで今年の夏に公開をしておりました。これから、地方の劇場公開に移っていく状態です。で、そのツールかパートナーかというところのお話ですけど、私が考えているのは、今動画とか画像の生成 AI っていうのはまだ現時点ではツール的な位置づけ、技術的なツールみたいなふうに思ってまして、例えばチャット GPT とかだと対話してこういろいろと自分で予測できないような、自分では思いつかなかった、提案をどんどんしてくれるのでアシスタントに近いと思ってるんですけど、動画とか画像の生成 AI 現時点ではまだそこには至っていなくて、あくまでこう自分の想像の範囲内で、しかもそうじゃないのにっていうこう自分の求めているものじゃない提案がいっぱい出てきてしまうのが今の動画や画像の生成 AI なので、その点ではまだアシスタントとは思ってなくて、あくまでツールで監督側がコントロールして、監督側のクリエイティビティで、AI を使って映画を作っていっているという感覚でいるので、先ほどそのようにお答えしました。でただ先日出てきた空2のようなものを見ていると、だんだんこう提案が、予測してなかったような、しかももうカットをつないでくれて、すごく流暢に日本語も喋っててということができてきているので、将来的にはアシスタントになりうる可能性を感じていますと、そういうような感じです。
はい、ありがとうございました。こちらの作品はどのぐらい期間かかったんでしょうか。
グランマレビットは、昨年の年末ぐらいから今年の2月3月まで作ってたので、だいたい 3,4 ヶ月ぐらい、で脚本は完全に日本の人間が3人ぐらいで話し合いながら作ってて、それが3ヶ月ぐらい脚本作りをやってたので、全部で半年未満弱ぐらいの感じです。ありがとうございます。
Hi, I'm Oscar Parres. I'm from Mexico. Well, I think the situation in Mexico is especially because we are not so advanced like you here in Japan. We are using the AI to things like make or homework or something like that. But for example, when I made a short film called Who is God, it was the first short film in Mexico who has the certificate by the Copyright Institute of Mexico. But when I made this film, they told me that the AI is not, for example, a creative or a copyright, because they say, no, AI is a tool that invented everything that you do. And I say no. And for example, the situation is it's like more difficult to the new filmmakers like me, because they don't put attention on these new filmmakers, because the producers, or for example, we have the United States up to us, and I think the situation maybe it's so back and like there or like here. Yeah, the AI it's not development in Mexico. For example, I have the opportunity to went to the Congress in Mexico to talk about AI, and we have to include in education, but they don't take so attention on this because they say no, we have so many problems more important than the AI. For example, the education. They are communities without internet, without these kind of things, and they say, oh no, AI is not a problem that care to us because we have so many big problems than AI. So the situation is special in Mexico.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
First of all, thank you for this wonderful invitation. I'm so happy to be here. So the question is not philosophical for Middle Eastern countries, maybe, because AI can become whatever our constraints make it. You know, it can be a tool sometimes, and also it can help you to with co-creativity. So I cannot label it as a tool like a screwdriver, and yet I cannot also label it and romanticize it as a co-creator. But the important thing for AI to me is that we should always put yet in it, because as we are talking, it's developing, and in the near future it can be a full authorship with AI. Regarding the Middle East countries, because we have many restrictions, like budget limitations, like technological disadvantages. So the AI helps Iranian filmmakers be more creative. You know, if you're familiar with our cinema, the approach of filmmaking is very simple. But now with AI, there is this generation of filmmakers that dare to make science fiction films, thriller films, which we didn't used to have before. So it really helps those kind of filmmakers to develop their stories, to show what they truly think and what they want from cinema. Another point is that I think when limitation arises, AI can become a shield and replace the tools that we don't have. It can become a producer, it can become a co-writer. You know, in the festival that I'm working, it was very it's a very funny story. I was reading the credits of a film, and in the screenwriting screenwriter part, there was a very odd name. I called the director because the name was not Iranian. And I said, who is this person? He said, this is my AI that I named him. Yes. So in a way, he co-created, co-written this film with AI. So I think it works on double edge, also as a tool and as a creator. And in the future, especially in Middle East countries, that you don't see a lot of different categories with AI. You can easily achieve it. Let me introduce you a little statistics. You know, last year for the first time we introduced AI to our international competition. There were only 11 Iranian films, and but for the second time it was more than 110 films. And each of them were different genres, different categories, and we were fascinated that how fastly it is growing and how good the AI directors become in countries like Iran. So I think in near future we will see more growth, especially in Middle East, because we don't have the luxurious things like Hollywood and everything. So we use AI to make up for that.
はい、創造とコラボレーションという、こちらテーマになっているんですけれども、 次の質問ですが、この AI というものはアーティストや技術者、国際的なチームの共同にどのような変化をもたらしているでしょうかということで、こちらそうですね、まずアメリカの、ダグラス・モントゴメリーさん、お願いします。ダグラスさん、特にアニメ業界にも詳しいので、特にそのアニメ制作においてどういう状況かというのもお話しいただければと思います。
All right. First of all, let me thank Short Shorts and Japan Cultural Expo for the invitation and for the audience for showing up on a rainy day. We appreciate it. So talking about collaboration, you know, Javier and I, we're going to need to talk later because we both run film festivals, and he just said that he's using AI as a producer for his film festival, which I assume means raising money. So how that works, I'd really like to collaborate with you. I thought it was funnier than that, but anyway, it's early in the morning. All right, regardless, you know, when you look at collaboration, I think some of the other panelists have already touched upon it. But, you know, I think, you know, number one, the transformation for AI, it's not, you know, starting from now, it's been going on for a while. When you look at things like, you know, using, for example, the feedback loop that you get when you're making something, whether it's, you know, live action or animation, it's much, much faster. Again, this is nothing new. It's probably the acceleration of change has increased, but it's nothing new. It's been going on for a long time. You know, VXF teams are using it to, you know, catch whatever issues and kind of fill in the blanks. But I think, you know, what has happened before where part of a film, where there's animation or live action, was filled in, that is becoming longer and longer, where in the past it may have been shorter. I think absolutely the bottlenecks in working across the world, when we look at what happened with production and distribution during COVID, we were forced to, you know, work globally around the world from, you know, our homes and be at the mercy of our internet connections. And that actually, again, probably accelerated the acceptance of, you know, work collaborating across oceans and whatever. And, you know, again, AI is absolutely helping that. There are other things like when you look at, I think even today, although we do have, you know, simultaneous interpretation, given this is an international panel, I think every single one of us probably uses Google Translate a lot, right? For working with, you know, different teams. We probably all have examples where Google Translate didn't work very well, but we still use it. That's the point, right? Like, it is not perfect. AI is not perfect. AI does not, you know, replace humans. It does not even replace, you know, live action, nor does it yet today really, you know, produce, you know, Japanese level anime, but it is getting better and better every day. So I think that's, you know, another way it's collaborating. And I think, you know, the last thing that I would say about, you know, collaboration and how AI is changing teamwork, you know, there's the phrase in Japanese, which probably many people know, korekara, you know, from now, I think is very apropos. There's a quote from Bill Gates when he was talking about technological change. And his quote was, you know, we overestimate the change that happens in 1 or 2 years, but we underestimate the change in 10 years. So the change today kind of feels incremental, a little bit here, a little bit there. But when we look at, you know, how things will be done, you know, teamwork-wise or collaboration-wise, in 10 years, it'll be 100% different from today, is what I think. Mm-hmm. I think, has it become shorter the answer is probably a little bit. Will it become shorter? The answer is probably a lot. Mm-hmm. I think now, you know, obviously we're in a big anime boom around the world. Japanese anime has never been more popular. So again, I come from a Hollywood studio, and they basically, sometimes they set the trends, and the second thing they do is they copy everybody else. So right now, because anime is hot, you know, everybody wants to make more of it. Therefore, the production, the studios in Japan making anime, they have a backlog, you know, 3 or 4 years. And, you know, now if you want to make anime, if you want to invest in it, you don't see your anime hitting the market for 4 years later. That's a bit of a risk. So using AI to speed that up is absolutely happening now. The estimates, you know, they vary widely. from 50% faster or 100% faster. But I think the key point, it's not 10% faster. It is 2, 3, 4, 5 times faster.
There's a big fight between people who are protecting the tradition because French people believe they invented cinema. And they say, well, we have a tradition. You take animation, for example. Arcane on Netflix was produced by a French company, and they are strictly against AI. They just don't want to hear about it. They say, well, this is our creation, and if you copy it, we'll sue you. And then you have new producers or new creators that are seeing this as an opportunity to learn or to go fast to different forms. Because French people are great fans of manga, for example. They are already preparing themselves to produce or to compete, or they try to compete with Japanese manga. Because in the past it was impossible. But now they say, well, if with AI, maybe we have an opportunity. So the first question is, are you for or against AI? Which is a very French way to approach this. And then the people who are looking for collaboration are, I say, outsiders or people who want to change the things fast. For example, in the advertising industry. They say, why should I pay 10 times something I can have for half price? I will put that money in creativity, or I will make more money, but why should I continue to do like in the past, while now I can develop new things? And so I can give examples of advertising agencies that are, because of AI, producing movies. They say, well, in the past we were an advertising agency. You have now producers of ad that are becoming AI creative agents, competing against us. So now we will produce movies. So this collaboration is also sometimes destruction. They feel the destruction. And then you have the optimist or the young or the entrepreneurs saying, well, it's a fantastic opportunity to tell new stories, to write new stories, to express ourselves differently. And so this tension is creating a kind of separation between, let's say, the old and the newcomers. And it's classic. It's not the first time in history of art that people are complaining about new technology. In France, we had a great poet called Charles Baudelaire who hated photography, who said photography was killing paintings. Actually, what we've seen is that paintings reinvented itself because of photography. And this is what we are seeing. Probably we will see new cinema. And I give an example because I discovered our friend Dembel on the internet, because what he was talking about was a part of the French colonial history that the French people are not talking about. But because of AI, I was able to share and to show this on the internet. And it was fascinating to see the history from the Senegalese point of view because of AI. And for many French people, original from Senegal or interested in history, it was an eye-opener. So you have a lot of people who are saying, well, it's a great opportunity. You can protect tradition, because if you like tradition, why not? But you cannot, or you shouldn't stop people to use the technology. And the last part about the collaboration is around technology. Many people have the feeling that they have to choose between the US, American technology, or the Chinese technology. And in Europe, there are a lot of protections and barriers against American technology or Chinese technology too. We have the same issues with TikTok the US had. And on the American technology, Sora 2, for example, is not allowed in Europe that far, because they know that if they develop Sora 2 in Europe, they will face big consequences from a privacy perspective, or for a copyright, because we are not in France under a copyright. So for Sam Altman, Europe, so far, is a problem, because they know they risk billions they are the financial risks for them. So the question is, how can we collaborate if on the technology we feel that your technology is not a collaboration tool, it's a colonization tool? Some of the people in the tech industry are saying, no, we are just a colony now because it's not our technology. And we don't control the data. We don't control the creativity. And somewhere, we don't know where, is taking our creation and then selling it back. So the debate is a political debate. From an artistic point of view, people are open-minded and they want the world to change. Politically and technologically, you have groups. I give you the example of Ubisoft, which is a great group in gaming. They are experimenting a lot with AI, but they are not necessarily launch products because they say, well, it's not clear if we will not have a problem with the state or with some lawyers somewhere complaining about AI. So it's fascinating, it's exciting, but there are many, let's say, strategic issues.
반갑습니다. 그리고 초대해 주셔서 정말 감사드리고요. 네. 그리고 일본 관객들한테는 제 영화 요키테키나 카누소는 그 사랑해 주셔서 정말 감사합니다. 그래서 네. 예. 제가 아까 프랑스에서 오신 말씀 들었는데 올 여름에 저희 영화제에 CNC의 대표단이 오셨어요. 오셔서 저희 그 AI 이벤트를 보고는 굉장히 기분 나빠하시더라고요. 안 좋아하시더라고요. 그래서 제가 프랑스 사정을 잘 몰라서 그랬었는데 굉장히 네거티브 하시더라고요. 그래서 그 사정을 듣게 돼서 정말 오늘 감사했습니다. 네, 네, 우리가 지금 매일 아침에 새로운 게임 체인저라고 주장하는 AI 툴들이 매일 튀어나와요. 어제도 게임 체인저가 나왔고 오늘도 나오고 매일 나오고 있습니다. 그래서 이게 어디까지 갈지를 정말 감을 못 잡겠어요. 그래서 과연 거기까지만 가지 않았으면 좋겠다라고 생각하는 것이 여러분이 너무 잘 아시듯이 풀 자율주행, 풀 FSD, 풀 self-driving 모터들 있잖아요. 자동차들이 완전 자율주행 모터들이 자동차들이 지금 미국에서 선보이고 있는데 FSC 풀 오토 크리에이션만 안 갔으면 좋겠다. 네, 예, 그래서 좀 어느 부분으로 봤을 땐 대단히 무섭습니다. 그래서 우리가 지금 AI로 쓰고 있는 영상 제작에 관해서는 영상 제작은 진짜 AI의 부분 중에 굉장히 작은 부분 중에 하나지만 굉장히 많은 부분에서 정말 위험하게 쓰이고 있습니다. 위험하게 쓰이고 있어서 이게 우리 그 영화를 만들고 영상을 만드는 팀 내의 콜라보레이션보다 이게 인류 전체를 위한 콜라보레이션이 필요할 때라고 생각을 합니다. 그래서 생각할수록 더 깊이 생각할수록 굉장히 무서운 미래가 기다리고 있을 수 있다. 그래서 두 가지 예측을 크게 하잖아요. 디스토피안적인 예측을 하고 있고 유토피아적인 예측을 하고 있는데 원자폭탄 개발처럼 이게 그런 디스토피아로 가지 않았으면 좋겠고 원폭은 제어를 할 수가 있었는데 이 AI는 제어할 수 있는 방법이 거의 안 보입니다. 너무 무한 경쟁, 이 지구의 패권 경쟁을 하는데 돈과 패권을 경쟁하는데 쓰이고 있기 때문에 작년에 그런 얘기 했었잖아요. 6개월 동안 좀 멈추자. Pause, 6 months. 근데 멈출 수가 없었어요. 왜냐하면 내가 멈추면 저 나라가 개발하고 있을 텐데 내가 멈추면 일론 머스크가 더 개발할 텐데 다 스톱하지 않으면 안 된다라는 이런 기술들이 이제 영화로 굉장히 평화적으로 쓰일 수 있으면 좋겠다. 영화 예술로 정말 평화롭게 쓰일 수 있는 컨트롤이 필요할 것 같다라고 생각을 합니다. 저희 우리 영화제에서는 저 역시 말씀하신 것 아까 이란에서 오신 분이 말씀하신 것처럼 저희는 시나리오를 쓰다가 헐리우드 영화를 보고 굉장히 인스피레이션을 많이 받는데 저희가 직접 만들어 보려고 하면 제작비가 너무 많이 들어서 못했던 것이 많아요. 못했던 것이 많아서 AI를 만나고 나서 제가 정말 기뻤습니다. 내가 여태까지 못했던 SF도 있고 판타지도 있고 이거를 반지의 제왕 같은 판타지도 있고 그런데 그걸 하고 싶은 게 많았는데 진짜 못했어요. 시나리오를 쓰다가 포기합니다. 이 센텐스는 돈이 너무 많이 들어서 지운다. 이렇게 해왔거든요. 그리고 그걸 오랫동안 이제 해왔습니다. 제가 그래서 이걸 보면 이 AI가 그냥 당장 태어난 것이 아니라 30여 년 전 디지털 혁명의 연장선상에 있는 겁니다. 그래서 1950년대 AI도 1950년대 한번 하이프가 됐다가 다시 가라앉았다가 하이프가 다시 있었다가 가라앉았다가 이제 튀어나온 거라고 생각하거든요. 그래서 이게 디지털 혁명의 연장선상에 있습니다. 35년 전쯤에 제가 한국에서 처음으로 시도되는 영화형 CGI 회사를 만들었었습니다. 제가 제작자였는데 저는 프로듀서로 오랫동안 일을 해왔는데 정말 저는 특수효과를 하고 싶은데 한국에서 할 수 있는 방법이 없어서 제가 직접 회사를 만들었습니다. 그래서 좀 영화를 한 2편을 만들었는데 한 편은 정말 완전히 엉터리였고 두 번째가 굉장히 성공적으로 그래도 이 정도 할 수 있겠구나라는 걸 좀 저희가 배웠는데 그때부터 제가 컴퓨터 그래픽 하는 친구들한테 제발 감독이 몇 사람이서 영화를 좀 만들 수 있게 좀 해달라라고 계속 부탁을 했어요. 30년 동안. 근데 이게 잘 안 되다가 AI가 지금 그걸 이루고 있었습니다. 그래서 이게 저는 저희가 지금 AI 그 학생들을 영화인들을 교육하기도 하고 시나리오 작가를 교육하기도 하고 교육을 계속하고 있는데 그 친구들한테 이렇게 얘기를 합니다. 지금 이 AI를 배우는 순간에 당신들은 제임스 카메론하고 똑같은 출발선상에 서 있다. 예전에 당신과 짐 카메론이 다른 것은 짐 카메론은 3억 불을 펀딩할 수 있고 영화 한 편을 위해서 당신은 할 수가 없었다. 그러나 이제 똑같은 선상에 있다. 차이는 누구의 상상력이 더 프레시하고 더 감동적인가 이거밖에 없다. 라고 얘기를 합니다. 이게 좀 과장된 얘기일 수 있겠지만 저는 확신을 하고 그렇게 얘기를 하고 있습니다. 그래서 기술적인 문제는 정말 금방 해결될 것 같습니다. 지금 그 AI의 기술적인 단점을 지적하는 사람들이 많은데 그거는 그냥 해결이 될 거라고 저는 확신을 합니다. 지금의 스피드로 봤을 때는. 그래서 우리 비판 이게 좀 딴 얘기를 하다가 그랬는데 비판은 저희 한국에서 최초로 AI 영상 제작에 대한 이슈를 처음으로 던졌습니다. 한국 영화계. 한국 영화계도 지금 전 세계 영화계도 마찬가지로 굉장히 극장 관객들이 줄어들고 있어서 위기입니다. 그런데 그 영화 제작의 시스템이 정말 하이 코스트 시스템으로 되어 있어요. 제작부터 배급부터 마케팅부터 엑시비션까지 너무 하이 코스트가 하이 코스트 시스템으로 되어 있어서 할리우드만 할 수 있었습니다. 이제 넷플릭스가 하고 있습니다. 근데 우리는 못 하잖아요. 근데 이 AI가 그 하이 코스트 시스템을 완전히 지형을 바꿔줄 거라고 저는 믿고 희망하고 있습니다. 그래서 지금 한국에서는 저희가 제일 처음 교육을 비판이 저희 영화제가 제일 처음 교육을 시작하고 거기서 배출된 친구들이 지금 장편 영화 준비하고 있고요. 그리고 굉장히 잘합니다. 이번에 멕시코에서 오신 감독님 계시지만 그 중에 한 분이 멕시코의 프리다 칼로의 스토리를 30분짜리로 만든 게 있는데 나중에 한번 보여드릴게요. 정말 잘 만들었습니다. 그래서 하여튼 여러 가지 그 가능성들을 보여주고 있는데 이게 아마 지금까지와는 굉장히 다른 지형을 만들 것 같습니다. 우리가 상상하지 못한 지형들을 만들어낼 것이고 지금의 시스템 가지고는 AI 영상의 생태계를 담을 수가 없습니다. 아마 다른 형태로 갈 것 같습니다. 그래서 저희는 그 다음에 지금 리얼한 영상을 만들어내는 그 수준에서 다음 세계가 어떻게 될 것인가, 영화 스토리텔링, 오디오 비주얼 스토리텔링의 세계가 어떻게 될 것인지에 대해서 굉장히 고민을 많이 하고 있습니다. 그래서 하여튼 개발을 하려고 우리 그 비판 출신 그 크리에이터들하고 굉장히 많은 얘기들을 하고 있고 노력들을 하고 있습니다. 이게 딴 얘기로 갔지만 이 정도로 이제 감사합니다.
はい、韓国の事情いろいろと映画の事情もお話しいただいてありがとうございました。ではちょっとお隣のですねセネガルのウセイン・デンベル・ソーさんなんですが我々のこの秋の国際短編画祭で彼の3分ほどのミュージッククリップしかもそれが戦争映画でかなり壮大なる世界観の AI の作品だったんですけどもちょっと彼はですね今日少しデモみたいなものを皆さんにお見せしたいということで短いんですけれども音がないんですがこれはデンベルスさんが解説ちょっといただけるんでしょうか。はい、ちょっといわゆるその今の技術ですねどういうことになっているのかというのも少しここで紹介したいということでまずはそちらのクリップご覧ください。もしよろければデンベルさんお話しください。
Good morning to everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to talk. So this is my second large AI film project. So it's a short film I'm working on. And I would like to start by saying that with AI, without AI, like I wouldn't be able to make such movies because it's a movie about magical realism. It's a movie with a lot of visual effects shot, like each shot is a visual effect shot, so it would have been impossible. Even though I have the skills, I wouldn't have the budget or time to do it like traditionally. And now with AI, you know, because Senegal has a very rich film history, but most of the movies that we used to make was like social drama or very contemplative movies that are more suited for festival audience than for like popular audience. So that meant that for a very long time the film industry in Senegal wasn't very rentable. Like filmmakers weren't able to make money out of the film, even though they were winning awards at festival, because the kind of movie that young audience want to see, we cannot make them like blockbusters or as a science fiction or fantasy. And now AI give us the tools to either make like 100% generated AI films, animation, or to make like what I decided to do with this project, like an hybrid movies where we shot with a red camera, the base footage, and now we are using AI to layer visual effect on top of it. But it just like it take a few clicks away and a lot of creativity to make the project. So it's definitely a game changer. Like in Hollywood, people are afraid that AI is destroying an industry, but like in where I come from, we are happy because it will help us build new industry. So it's kind of leapfrogging. So while people are afraid of losing, we are happy to gain, and that's a very totally different point of view, and I think it will create more competition for Hollywood because it will allow, just like the movie Flow, you know, which is made in Latvia. I don't know even where Latvia is. Yeah, it's somewhere in Europe, and they kind of won against, with 1 million euros, they won against people who had like 2,000 million of dollars of budget, because they had open source software, Blender, and they used it, and they told an amazing story. And also another case study that is interesting, even though it's not AI, it's like NISA, the Chinese film, who is beating like the big American studios because the story is so fresh. And I think AI will accelerate that tendency where we will see maybe American audience, you know, seeing like Iranian blockbusters or Senegalese blockbusters or Japanese blockbusters to the cinema. So it's a paradigm change. And anything that we might say here is highly speculative because we don't know yet how this technology will shape. I always say that for 1 century, like we used to make movie by putting a camera in front of reality, and now we are trying to put reality into a computer and simulate it and make movie. And I think it will allow us to go further than the camera, because the camera has reached its peak. Like, I don't think they can make better camera. They can make more expensive camera, you know, but like the camera sensor is at the limits, and AI is just getting started. So I think it will be interesting to observe where we get with this technology. There is no really film school in Senegal, so people learn school by watching movies or reading about films, making films.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the main way. But we have like a cinema association, and yeah, it's a lot of sharing. I always say that to make a movie, you need a camera and good friends. Like if you have a camera and people who are and very loyal friends, you can make movie without money. Like if your friend work at the bank, you know, give him a call and tell him, you know, on Sunday I'm shooting. Just come and just hold the sound, you know, and do that, you know, and you can make movie. Mm-hmm. So it's very like guerrilla filmmaking. Mm-hmm. And I always say that making movie is hard, wherever you are. Like in Japan or sometimes for people in Hollywood, it's hard to make movie, as it is in Iran or in Senegal. So I don't think it's about specific region, but making films is universally hard. It's hard everywhere. And people struggle to make their film, whether they are in Senegal, in Iran, or in Afghanistan. But maybe in America they have more leverage, but it's very hard to still to make movie in Hollywood.
倫理と文化的責任ということで、早速次の、質問にも参りたいと思います。AI 作品の著作権と開示についてなんですけれども、どう思われるか聞きたいと思います。まず、AI で作った作品というものがあるんですけれども、これは観客に対してその AI で作ったよという、ことを、明示すべきと思われる方、ちょっと挙げてください。丸を。ペケでも大丈夫です。はい。明示すべきだという方もいらっしゃれば、必要ないという方も、はい、いらっしゃるという結果になりました。ほぼちょっと半分半分というような形でな感じですね。
You know, I understand that some of you said no, because AI is now merging with every element of the film. Sometimes it's really hard to separate it, and in future, I think all aspects of films will be merged with AI. But for the moment, I think we should because we have not set the rules and the standards yet, you know. For example, last year in the festival, when we said that for the first time we will have an AI competition, there were sorts of different films that submitted to the festival, but we didn't know which parts were used AI. Some of them in the screenwriting, some of them in their visuals. So for this year, we decided to set some standards and say, okay, only films that have that their visuals are generated by AI can be considered for the AI competition program. Unfortunately, some of the filmmakers think that if they declare using AI, it will reduce their artistic value. To me, it will protect their interpretation actually. And we use it before when VFX come. We use it in the credits. We mention VFX. We mention other roles. So why not we mention also usage of AI? Also, for the future, we will prepare ourselves for the also to protect industry and for the future, because if we set the rules and regulations which will come eventually, we will keep ourselves from imposing them into us later. We can have the freedom to set the standards ourselves, as I told you, than to impose it later. And if from administrative prospects you want to evaluate something, you want to see how should you evaluate a project, you should know what you're dealing with. You should know what you're dealing with, and the credibility of a film will be protected for a long term. Of course, as I told you, I understand that some of you said no, but this is my opinion for the moment, not for the future. For the future, I think it will be an Academy Award for an AI film as well. But for the moment, it will be a disclosure until we set up rules and regulations to how to deal with AI films.
Yes, I can understand we talk about yes or no to use artificial intelligence, and we talk about the film copyrights, yes. And I remember when I start with Imperial, and we were on several festivals and also winners with this film, and so the jury and the audience and also the jury talks about how is make this film and have you the copyrights and the film rights. And I decided the problem is that every people can make artificial intelligence movies, and the most films I see on festivals are like Alien or like such a famous films you see it on cinemas. And for example, by Imperia, I used a morphing technology. So for example, for all the aliens and the animals and also the persons, I used my own photos. I record photos, for example, from my house, from my garage, from cables, a hammer, and something else. And I put all pictures together with a morphing technology. So it becomes out a new style, so my own style. And I think this is a possibility to get a own style and maybe also a better copyright of your film. This is very important because yes, the most people used what artificial intelligence gives you in a prompt, and this is what you see in all the films in the last years. So I think it's very important that as a maker, as a filmmaker, as an artificial filmmaker, that I started the idea of a style from the beginning of prompting. So this is very important, I think. And so you talk from mine, yes, that's root. We have to decide what the rule says in the next time. What happens, for example, my next project is a motion picture project, 100 minutes, and it's a hybrid film, so of an international company, where we decided, for example, to record it with green screen the two main actors, and all the other things are artificial intelligence, so it's also more easy to get a bridge to realize this film that you have rights, because you have actors inside, real actors. And yes, and I don't know, we have, I talked to to Los Angeles, for example, 1 year ago to a producer, and we talk about artificial intelligence, and he said, "No, I'm in the union, and we can't make artificial intelligence movie, and also for the Oscars is not possible." And now you see next year, next year, where is a category with artificial intelligence by the Oscars, so using artificial intelligence, and I think so. Maybe in 1, 2, 3 years, the big companies like Paramount, Warner, and also Netflix. For example, Netflix, for my next project, they told me, okay, we don't want now to put artificial intelligence movies on Netflix, but if you make a hybrid film and we have also real actors, we can talk about this, because this is a bridge to maybe to 100% artificial intelligence films in the next years.
罰を出した理由は2つの、視点から罰を出したので、それを説明させていただきます。まずは映像作家としては完成した作品を届けるものなので、製法を明かすことは僕はその作品のマジックを失ってしまうと思いますから明かしたくない。これは映像作家としてのアイデアなんですけど、あとは僕プロダクションの従業員なんで、プロダクション視点からすると、この映像をどうやって作ったのかっていうのは、これは知的財産なんですね。なのでどういうアプリを使ったかとか、そういうことを明かすということはこちらの努力を明かしてしまうことになるので、それをやってしまうとプロダクションが成り立たなくなってしまうので、開示するかどうかは必要ないならば明らかに何か盗作でしたり既存のイメージを使ったようなものではない場合は明示しなくてもいいかなと思いますね。
My answer is like yes and no, because I think when you have the idea on your mind and you want to make with the AI, you never going to match the original idea that you have. Never. At least to me, I have been never reached the idea that on my mind was. So we have to define some rules about, first, if you want to make a project with AI, you have to say what is your original idea was. And when the final idea pass with the AI, say, okay, this is the original idea, and the AI changed these things. But yes, I think it's something different, the AI.
Yeah, in the European context, especially in French context, lawyers and politicians are saying, be careful. Remember when Sam Altman was complaining about DeepSeek copying him and taking the business because they were doing artificial intelligence cheaper and maybe better than the OpenAI's ones. So you had an illustration of what's happening if you don't protect the rights. So being transparent is the first step. You recognize that you're using a technology, then it's good for the technology too, or an AI. And then if you have some talent, you are an author or you are a creator on that technology. So in my point of view, it's better to be transparent. But otherwise, you have people who are creating without saying the truth, and then they lose if there's a problem. You know, if someone is copying you, what can you say? You say, oh, no, I didn't do anything. I was expecting some forgiveness, but it's too late. You know, so I think at the end of the day, I believe in the law to protect the creation. Otherwise, it's the jungle, and it's a jungle good for the very, very big companies, not for the independent. I mean, especially with tech companies who have billions to fight and to protect their own technology.
文化的多様性と AI の公平性ということになります。 映画制作者はですね、AI が生成するコンテンツがさまざまな文化を尊重し偏見を避けるためにするにはどのようにすればいいかということについて聞いてみたいと思うんですけれども。
Yeah, I think that for now, I think my answer is like ambivalent. I think it's both. I think for now, people need to know like what is AI, because I think it goes beyond just making films. It's about information, and I think since the invention of the film camera, like video and photography like served as a benchmark for truth. We used to measure truth based on film, and now for the first time, a film is not truth anymore. It doesn't mean truth because, like in the court of justice, the last hope for anyone who is in trouble is having a photography or a video. And it was like nobody will ever question it. But now, people need to prove the authenticity of any visuals, and it's going faster and faster and faster. Even me, as someone whose eyes is very well trained on AI video, I am sometimes fooled by AI video, because when you are not working, you are just like on TikTok, on Instagram, and you see a video and you think it's truth, and some days later you discover that it was AI. Right now there's a lot of video of cats or dogs saving baby, but it's so credible that you don't question it. So I think for now we need a way to recognize what is AI. But when it comes to filmmaking, I think people need to be in the suspension of disbelief about what they are seeing. Because when you watch a film, like you don't wait till the end to see like if it was shot on Kodak or Arri or Alexa, you don't care about which camera it was shot. When you watch Spider-Man, you can't make the difference between what is CGI and what was shot. What you see is a credible reality, and you suspend your disbelief and you are into the story. And I think that with filmmaker, we like to have this mystery, and I think like someone like Stanley Kubrick, when he made 2001 Space Odyssey, he liked to play with this idea of tricking the audience. Like you don't know what is built, what is simulated, what was shot practically, what was edited digitally. So I think we need to have this mystery of the film process also, so audience can really get into the story and not bother about the techniques that was used. Okay, for me it's quite similar, but it's just faster, because whatever you can do with, it's like VFX and the practical effects. Like 99% of what you do in VFX, you can do it with practical effects, and often it looks better, but it would be very expensive to make like 100% practical VFX movie right now, and only like crazy director like Christopher Nolan can afford it. But if you are a filmmaker, like with a producer, who check the bank account, you have to make some compromise. And AI, I think, is the very good balance between technicals and artistic, because one of the biggest struggle with traditional VFX for almost 50 years has been the Uncanny Valley. The Uncanny Valley is Japanese know very well about the Uncanny Valley, because it's a Japanese, I forgot his name, but he was trying to make robots, and he made them very, very realistic. But the more realistic they become, and the more off-putting they were to a human audience. And CGI had the same problem. You can make someone in CGI that is 100% photorealistic, but we are so attuned to human expression and movement that we kind of get like put off by the realism. And AI is helping us cross the Uncanny Valley. Like we cannot tell anymore if something is simulated or shot on film. And And for me, it's very important. So I think AI is a balance, is a middle ground between high-end VFX and something that is shot practically, because it will make it very hard to tell what is practical and what is VFX. Yeah, the Uncanny Valley, it comes from robotics. I forgot the name of but it was a Japanese
animation.
Robotics.
Oh, robotics. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
ごめんなさい。
Yeah, so it's a concept that I can check the name. I will take you later. Yeah.
偏見のない AI 映像を作るためにというところで言いますと、人間 AI じゃなくて人間が作っているフィクションの場合でも、偏見はいろいろあると思います。フィクションなんで監督それぞれの、世界観とか、視点の偏りっていうのが作品に出てきますし、でむしろその作品の偏っている部分が個性だったり作品自体の世界観を特徴づけていると思うので、そういうものも必要だと思ってまして、ただ人間が作る場合っていうのはその偏りが偏見の方に傾いていかないように倫理的な配慮だったりを制作者側が考えて、作っていっているという形ですね。それに対して AI の場合が、大規模データの平均値みたいなことになっていくと思うんですけど、その平均化された AI で平均化されたような視点っていうのが必ずしも正しいわけではないというところで、そこを気をつけなきゃ使う場合に AI を使う場合にそこを気をつけていかなきゃいけないという感じですね。逆にノンフィクション、人間が作るノンフィクションに関してもそれと同じようなことが言えると思ってまして、大事なのは真実を維持するような考え方、いろんなドキュメンタリーがあって監督がそれぞれいて真実に対してそのドキュメンタリーを描いていく場合でも結局監督によって偏りが出てくるわけで、そこも同じことだと思っています。一番大事なのはAI を使って作る場合も AI 任せにはせずに、あくまで制作者側が意図とか世界観とかこの視点みたいなものに気をつけて、あくまでクリエイティブの本質的な部分を大事にしながら、あくまで AI が作ったものは材料の一部ということで、それを監督自身が取捨選択して、作品の形にしていくっていう、そういうところが、制作者の配慮としては重要かなと思ってます。
Yeah, it's interesting, I think, to ask the Hollywood guy this question because, when you look at film and who was determining what went on film for, 80 years is probably Hollywood people, right? Like the big 6 studios are really the kind of the gatekeepers to a certain extent of the world's culture. However, with, distribution that happens now at scale, the internet, no longer is Hollywood the gatekeeper, and I would assume most of the audience would agree that's a good idea. I do. But when you look at things like AI and these massive models that are put out there, again, they are trained to a certain set of parameters, and these may or may not reflect kind of the reality of the world. However, what we do see now is the ability of the world to react to these things. So if something comes out in AI and people feel it's not reflective of what the globe thinks, for example, I mean, there's been many examples where people have done things in AI and it comes back and it's only, quite frankly, a white person who looks like me, which is not, reflective of the world. The global community can react in real time. So I think the community kind of functions as a gatekeeper nowadays where it didn't in the past. I think this has happened on the internet with distribution and now will happen with content, that communities can kind of police the output, whether the output is done by AI, partially by AI, or even kind of the old-fashioned way. So I think from that perspective, technology will be a bonus for something that was typically controlled by 6 people in 6 different studios in Los Angeles.
Well, I really would say only one sentence. In the very end, it's always the responsibility of filmmakers what the result is.
Mm-hmm.
So what should I discuss now? That is the truth, and no matter how much AI I use or authentic or analog scripts or whatever, it's our responsibility.
制作者の責任ということですね。制作者の責任ということですね。
In the very end, yes, the producer.
조금 과격하게 들릴진 몰라도 AI가 만든 컨텐츠 이외에 우리가 현재까지 만들어왔던 컨텐츠들은 정말 우리 컬처, 우리의 문화를 존중해왔고 바이어스가 없었는가를 다시 한번 질문을 해봐야 될 것 같습니다. 정말 우리는 계속 그래왔는데 AI가 생성한 영상에 그런 일이 많이 있을 것인가라고 생각이 들고요. 거꾸로 질문을 좀 해보고 싶고, 아마 이렇게 컨트롤할 수 있는 방법들은 굉장히 여러 가지가 있겠죠. 그러니까 굉장히 여러 가지 우리의 기준에서 벗어나는 일들이 많이 일어날 텐데, 그런 것들은 이제 약속과 또 협상에 따라서 이제 아마 어떤 협의점을 찾을 것 같고, 수많은 법적 분쟁들이 일어날 거라고 생각을 합니다. 문화적, 법적 분쟁이 일어날 거라고 생각하고, 그런 것들은 우리가 아직 본 적이 없는 것들이라 협상하고 토론해 나가고 아마 그러면서 중재점을 찾아나가야 되지 않을까라는 생각을 하고 있습니다.
AI 映像制作の未来展望ですね。はい。今から例えばもう10年後、この映画のこの制作というものはどう姿になっているのかということです。そして AI が主導する世界の中で人間の感情や芸術性をどのように守っていくことができるんでしょうかと、こういうことがあるんですけれども、そうですね、またちょっと皆様のお手元にこの丸と×のプレートがありますけれども、ちょっとお答えいただければと思います。質問としては、この10年後、映像制作はどう変わるか、はい、AI が介在しない映像制作はなくなると思うかということなんですけれども、これはもうAI が介在しない映像制作はなくなっていると思うと思われる方は丸出していただけますでしょうか。はい、こちらも少しでもバスが少し少ないですが、はい、ありがとうございます。はい、こちらこういう結果になっております。
Yeah, what can I say? I think definitely artificial intelligence movies are the future, but not yet, not in the moment, because we have many problems now to resolve. The lawyer's problem, the film rights problem, the emotions in artificial intelligence movies. So many problems we have. I want to say to Hussein, he talks about CGI, and I want to answer. I had a meeting with a CGI maker from Marvel Studios weeks before. And they have a software, and they can put, for example, an artificial intelligence movie in this software and can see how is far away from a CGI technology. For the moment, about 2 to 3% only is the technology so good like CGI. So I see we are exactly in the beginning. But for example, a friend of mine, he showed me some new samples with a VO3 software with emotional programming, human emotional programming, artificial intelligence at the moment. It's so amazing what I see there. So so much better than what I make in Imperia, and it's 3 months ago. So this is the problem we have, but also the future we have, because I think in 10 years, oh wow, it's amazing what artificial intelligence softwares can make. And I think it's very important that we have in the mind every day we have jobs. We have jobs on this world. The people need jobs. But what is the thing? When we talk about movies, the first we talk about is money. Is every time money. How much costs the film? For example, by Imperia, I go to a producer in Los Angeles and he said, okay, you need about 20, 25 million for this film. So it's impossible for me. And yeah, we have to talk about money. And I think the film industry becomes cheaper, because when at the moment then Warner Paramount starts with the first very professional artificial intelligence movie, I think in 2 years. We need 2 years, not more. We talk about science fictions to realize with 8, 10, 15 millions, and costs now about 300 million, so the big ones. And the smaller ones, you can, for example, my next film, I think I can realize for $5-6 million. That's amazing. That's amazing. So I think not yet, because we have a lot of problems. But for example, most of the people in the CGI industry now just learning the artificial intelligence technologies, because they know maybe in some years we have new jobs in this world, and we are losing our jobs. So especially the synchronizing jobs and camera and something else. But we need time. But I think not in 10 years, in 2-3 years, we are ready for big films made with artificial intelligence.
そうですね。私今丸を出しましたが、一切介在しない映像制作が問われればそうですね、なくなると思います。ということで、撮影現場でいうともう、例えば撮影に必要な小道具とかでも、今までだと助監督が美術部に発注して作っていたようなものも、もう今ある程度 AI で作れるものは助監督がそのまま演出部が作っちゃうっていうのはもうみんなやっていることで、そういうことは多分今後戻らないと思うので、過去にはどんどんもうそういう使い方を皆さんがしていく以上、 AI を一切使わない映像制作っていうのはないんじゃないですかね。もちろんあえて AI を一切使わないっていう決まり事を作って映像を作る場合はあると思うので、そういう形になっていく気がします。で、10年後の映画制作がどう変わるかっていうところで言うと、もう10年もかからずこの5年ぐらいですごい大きく変わっていくと思ってまして、まずはやっぱ CG がかなり AI に置き換わっていって、どんどん CG の会社も AI を使うようになっていきますし、同時に AI を使って、ビデオコンテとか映画のパイロット版みたいなものももう AI で作れるので、すごいスピードで迅速化していくと思います。あと音声の AI でいうと、本人の声を保ったままでいろんな海外の言語に入れ替えるのが可能になると思うので、もうそういう吹き替えとかが簡単にできて、海外展開とかローカライズがすごいクオリティも高くてスピーディーにっていうのが進んでいくと。で、海外に自分の作品をすごい売りやすくなっていくと思います。あとは私もやろうと思ってるんですけど、自分の作品を AI で全部リメイクしてみるということも可能になりますし、これまで予算とか技術で難しかったようなハリウッド規模の映画をすごい小規模のチームで作るというのも可能になっていくと それももう本当この5年間でたくさんそういう映画が出てくると思います。その一方で今問題になっている人間の職業を奪うんじゃないかっていうこと自体はあると思っていて、俳優さんで言えばエキストラさんの仕事っていうのはどんどんなくなっていって全部 AI で済まされていくと思うんですね。映画の背景にいるような大勢の人っていうのはもう AI で作った方がはるかに低コストで早いので、それで撮影現場のスピードもすごい上がるというところで、多分エキストラさんの仕事がまず大量になくなっていって、そのエキストラさんから徐々にこう俳優になっていこうとしているような人の下積みの場がなくなってしまうんじゃないかっていうのはすごい懸念点だと思ってて、代わりにそういう演技を学ぶようなワークショップだとかそういう学校みたいなのは実践的に現場の感じをこう教えてもらえる場所が必要になってくるんじゃないかと思ってます。あとは撮影の現場でいろいろこう培われてきたような撮影の技術的なノウハウとかそういうのも失われていきそうな感じはします。ただ例えばこう音声 AI がどんどんこう進化していって人間と同じような演技ができるようになっていったとしても、それはあくまで人間の演技の模倣でしかないので、人間の役者さんが演じる感情表現とかこう演技の中の衝動的な表現みたいなものは AI からは生まれないと思ってます。その意味ではさっきもお話ししたようなやっぱ演技の学ぶ場っていうのは何か逆に作っていく必要があるし、今後俳優を目指す人はもうエキストラからやっていくんじゃなくて、自分自身がもう AI 映画の主人公をやるつもりで AI 映画作っちゃって、それで自分で映画でデビューみたいなそういう考え方をしていった方が、今からそれを考えておけばきっと俳優になりたい人は意外と優位に立てるかもしれないですね、もしかしたら。そして今まで以上に、コンテンツ映像コンテンツの量産がすごい進んでいくと思うので、飽和状態になった中でこう、自分の作品を際立たせるための何か方法論を世界観だとか物語性とか視点とかテーマとかそういったものを工夫するのが今まで以上にすごい重要になっていくと思います。
I want to tell you something. In Mexico, it's difficult to have a career in arts, so I work for a bank, and in the bank, I learned that the AI. Well, sometimes they put me to make trainings to the assessors, to the persons who work there in AI, and I always show a image of an ancient wheel. Because I think the AI is not gonna change the cinema. It's gonna change the humanity, because we are in front of something more huge than we can imagine. In fact, that's the topic of my short film, Who's God? It's talking about evolution, about the next step of the humanity, and it can help to for example, the new filmmakers like me. I am a filmmaker who maybe doesn't has the many budget, but the AI can accelerate this, and that's why I'm here. So I think the AI will change everything, and it's changing right now. So that's it.
はい、罰を出したのは山口さんと同じ理由で、基本的には AI 使うと思うんですけど、多分 AI を使わない、今もフィルムを使ってる人はいるんで。そういう人はそれで残るということですね。で、10年後どういう人がいるかっていうのをちょっと今の状況から考えてみるとですね、今映像クリエイターがたくさん新しい人が出てるんですね。それは AI を使って映像を作っている人たちで、彼らは技術的な下地があるわけでもないし、チームを組んでいるわけでもなくて、個人で AI を使って SNS 上で作品を発表していると。こういう人たちがですね、経験を積んで表現力を高めていったり、映像のこの、見せ方を学んでいくと、きっと映像業界に新しいタイプの作家が出てくると思います。彼らは今 SNS で作品を発表しているから、もう発表して数分でいいねの数とかによって、その反応をもとに方向をすぐ変えていくんですね。でそうしたそのスピード感とか柔軟さを持つクリエイターが今生まれつつあって、彼らが力をつけていくと従来のこの映像制作者よりも大きな力を持つかもしれないと思いますね。どっしりとチームを組んで90分完成させるっていうタイプはもちろん残ると思うんですけど、それとは別に1日1分の作品を次々出して、市場の反応を見て、スピード感と柔軟性を持って、その映像を積み重ねている、ストーリーを重ねていくっていうのはきっと AI を使ってしかできないし、この AI の得意とする分野でもあるんで、きっとそういう作家が出てきて映像、今のこの、映像業界を脅かすと思いますね。
はい、ちょっと以前メールのやり取りでなんかこうもしかするとコンテンツがプライベート化というかその人の思考に合わせて特注されるような形でも作られるんじゃないかってちょっとお話しされてたようだったんですけれども、その点いかがですか？
そうですね、それは僕がちょうどとある新技術を見た日だったんでそれを言ったんですけど、その新技術はモニターなんですね。でモニターにセンサーがついてて、この視聴者がどこ見ているか分かる。で 3D なんですよ。裸眼で 3D で見れるんですけど、これは一人で見るように作られているコンテンツなんですね。でそういう今もスマホで一人で映像を見てから、人々がスマホで映像を見始めてから、コンテンツってこの一人で見る人の心情に合わせて進んでいっていると思うんですね。でこれはきっとこの今開発されている技術も合わせて、どんどん一人でモニターの前に釘付けにするっていう技術と、この AI が一人一人の思考に合わせて物語を作っていくっていうのが合わさっていくんじゃないかということですね。
Hello? Yeah, this is a very good question. I think if we look 10 years down the road, we will see. We're not there now, obviously, but making a film could be very, very easy, and potentially anybody can make a blockbuster level film. But at that point, then we have a volume problem, and we have so much content that how to get people to watch it becomes the bigger issue. There is a phrase, too much content, too few credit cards. But even if you didn't worry about the credit card, you still have too much content and not enough time in the day. So I think getting people to watch something in 10 years will actually be probably the hardest thing. Harder than making a movie, but getting somebody to watch it will be very, very tricky. How that becomes curated, how that rises to the top of an algorithm, etc., becomes very hard. I think some of the other panelists have mentioned this. The concept of community becomes even more important. I think one of the strengths, I believe, of a Tom Cruise movie in 2025 is that he does his own stunts. The technology is there, and there are stunt people there who could do his stunt. But actually, the backstory of a Tom Cruise movie is that he does his own stunts, and that actually helps sell the movie. When you look at the behind-the-scenes footage of this, behind-the-scenes footage of that, access to an author, access to a mangaka, the behind the story of the actual content becomes super important, and that becomes a way of creating a community, and that becomes a way of having a story becoming viral or more interesting to people. So I think having a community behind any type of content will become even more and more important, and that actually, you know, probably becomes the way that you get your content viewed, as opposed to the old ways of, you know, hijacking algorithm or getting it, you know, in 50,000 movie theaters around the world through the Warner Brothers theatrical distribution team.
Actually, I don't know if you're familiar with Iranian cinema or not. As I told earlier, we learn to make films in indirect ways. And so, because of some cultural sensitivity and other restrictions, we try to send our messages with creating different layers. Now, with the evolution of AI, of course, it's become much simpler. You can use the tools that you can easily make the film at your house by yourself with no needs of crew. And so I think if we want to consider AI in filmmaking in such regions like Middle East and other places where they have restrictions or cultural sensitivity, it can easily help them to overcome those boundaries. And as I told you, I never imagined that these are this generation of filmmakers that even see the world in this way, you know. And with the help of an AI, we can see that yes, we have this kind of filmmakers as well. We have these visions as well. And for future, I think we should be adaptive, you know. I would like to talk about what is ahead us. And I remember that when I was a child, there was this debate about moving from a negative to digital, and everyone was against, and some were in favor of the digital world. But eventually, the digital make more filmmakers, making films very more accessible, reachable, and AI is also the same. I think every aspect of filmmaking will be adaptive with AI in the future, and more people can share their stories and overcome boundaries with using AI in filmmaking, especially in such regions.
2024년 처음으로 AI 이니셔티브를 부천에서 제시를 하고 여러 가지 일들이 많이 있었고 부정적인 일도 많이 있었고 기본적으로 영화를 그 AI 영화를 정말 반대하는 사람도 있고 그랬었는데 저희들하고 그 결론은 더 이상 피할 수가 없다. 이거는 피할 수가 없다. 피할 수가 없는 것은 그리고 그 성능이 워낙에 뛰어나서 피할 수가 없고 훨씬 더 좋은 방향으로 쓸 수 있을 것 같다. 그러면 어떻게 해야 될 것이냐. 이것을 영화계와 학생들과 일반에 이것 AI로 영화를 만들어가는 영상을 만들어가는 그 스킬들을 빨리 퍼뜨려야 되겠다라고 생각했습니다. 문자를 만들고 그것을 빨리 퍼뜨려서 사람들이 널리 쓰게 할 수 있도록 그렇게 해야 되겠다라고 생각해서 근데 저희 그 한국 3대 방송사 중에 하나인 SBS가 그 계획에 동의를 해서 방송사하고 같이 AI 필름 인스티튜트를 만들었습니다. 그 인스티튜트일지 센터일지 교육센터일지는 아직 그 이름이 인스티튜트하고 또 다른 것들이 있어서 확실하게 성격이 규정되어 있지는 않지만 지금 교육기관으로서 굉장히 많은 교육을 지금 하고 있습니다. 그래서 저희가 첫째 느낀 것은 AI를 교육할 때 저는 현재 일을 하고 있는 영화인들이 스토리텔링을 굉장히 많이 생각을 했던 영화인들이 이 강의를 들어야 될 것 같다고 훈련을 받아야 될 거라고 생각했는데 정말 그게 맞았던 것이 영화를 하던 친구들이 그 빠른 시간 안에 그 워크숍을 겪으면서 저는 그 친구들의 눈이 반짝 뜨이는 걸 봤어요. 이게 되는구나. 뭐 이런 걸 봤을 때 정말 어메이징했어요. 정말 놀라웠고 그래서 그 교육을 계속 확실히 스토리텔링을 아는 친구들이 굉장히 빠르더라고요. 빨라서 그래서 영화 쪽 그 스토리 그 시나리오 작가들 교육을 또 열심히 하려고 생각을 하고 있고요. 대학에서 대학생들 지금 그 여러분들 아시다시피 영화 쪽에서도 여러 가지 그 OTT 넷플릭스를 위시한 OTT들의 영향으로 영화계 그 일자리들이 굉장히 줄고 있습니다. 지금 한국은 극심하게 줄고 있거든요. 그래서 그 친구들의 미래를 생각해서 우리가 반드시 뭔가 다른 무기를 하나 반드시 저도 그 후배들을 위해서 어떤 무기를 만들어줘야 될 것 같은데 AI가 제가 생각할 수 있는 가장 좋은 무기인 것 같다라고 생각을 하고 있습니다. 그래서 한국 영화계는 컨벤셔널한 그 영화를 만드는 방식 하나의 기둥과 그 AI를 사용한 다른 방식의 영화, 그 다른 방식의 기둥, 두 개의 기둥을 투 트랙으로 가져가야 된다고 생각합니다. 그래서 그런 노력을 하고 있고요. 그래서 여러 가지 그를 하고 있으면서 이 교육을 받은 친구들이 그 장편 영화나 커머셜하고 요새 숏폼이라는 게 또 되게 유명하고 그 유행하고 있는데 그런 콘텐츠들을 열심히 만들어내고 있습니다. 그리고 그래서 저희는 부천을 그 부천이라는 조그만 도시를 한국 AI 크리에이티브의 클러스터의 중심으로 좀 만들어 가보려고 생각을 좀 하고 있습니다. 이게 될지 안 될지 모르겠지만 저희는 큰 기대를 가지고 열심히 노력을 하고 있고 한국 정부도 지금 인공지능 국가전략위원회라는 걸 만들었습니다. 올해 한 몇 개월 전에 그걸 출범시켜서 아주 전략적으로 큰 투자를 한국이 굉장히 뭐 부자 나라는 아니지만 그 경제 규모에 비해서 굉장히 큰 예산을 그쪽 전략위원회에 투여하려고 AI 개발에 투여하려고 좀 하고 있습니다. 그래서 저희도 생각을 해보면 AI 영상 제작은 이제 글쓰기하고 똑같아졌다고 생각을 합니다. 왜냐하면 그 AI 영상 제작하는 친구들이 제작하는 그 프로세스를 보니까 시나리오를 쓰면서 영상을 만들어요. 같이. 동시에 진행을 합니다. 그런 방식을 쓰는 애들이 있어요. 그래서 이게 영화 제작 프로세스라는 게 완전히 바뀌겠구나 싶은 생각이 들더라고요. 영상이 만들어진 걸 보고 시나리오를 더 보충하고 왔다 갔다 하는 양방향의 창작 프로세스를 가지고 있어서 제 생각엔 한 10년이라고 생각하면 아마 큰 돌연변이가 나와 있지 않을까 싶은 생각을 합니다. 우리가 CGI, 컴퓨터 그래픽이라든지 이런 것들은 아니면 바퀴라든지 이런 것들은 무생물이었잖아요. AI는 생물입니다. 큽니다. 혼자 잘하고 더 똑똑해지고 또 복사도 할 수 있고 저희가 생각도 할 수 있고 이런 것이기 때문에 굉장히 큰 변화가 생기지 않을까. 그래서 저는 돌연변이가 생길 거라고 생각하고 우리가 돌연변이를 열심히 생각을 해야 될 것 같다고 생각을 합니다. 그래서 저는 쌍방향 스토리텔링에 대한 가능성을 많이 생각을 해봐야 된다. 지금 한국의 젊은 친구들은 극장에 가서 영화를 보면서 어떤 불만을 얘기하냐 하면 극장에 2시간 동안 가둬놓는 아무것도 못하게 하고 가둬놓는 것이 폭력이다 라고 얘기를 합니다. 폭력적이다. 그리고 영화가 지루할 때 빨리 넘기고 싶은데 넘길 수 없게 하지 않느냐. 너무 일방적인 것들을 요구하고 그렇게 생각을 하더라고요. 폭력적이라고까지 표현을 합니다. 그래서 이것이 그 관객과 보는 사람들과 컨텐츠가 쌍방향으로 움직이는 지금으로서 제일 큰 것은 게임이 있겠지만 어떤 형태가 만들어지지 않을까. 그래서 그런 움직임들이 있는 것 같더라고요. 페이블이라는 또 그런 컨텐츠 회사도 있고 여러 움직임들이 있는 것 같습니다. 그래서 뭐 일론 머스크도 뭐 저 이상한 그 성인용 컨텐츠 만들고 있고 에로티카라는 것도 나오고 있고 쌍방향 컨텐츠들인 것 같아요. 이게 이제 영상적으로 이제 만들어졌을 때 어떤 형태가 될지 좀 더 저도 대단히 궁금하고 과연 어떻게 될 것인가. 저도 고민을 많이 하고 있는데 잘 모르겠습니다. 그래서 근데 전혀 다른 형태의 컨텐츠가 되어야 하지 않을까 싶은 생각을 좀 하고 있습니다. 예, 감사합니다.
Thank you for that very interesting question. But before answering, I would like to come back to the concept of the uncanny valley I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of the Japanese roboticist is Masahiro Mori.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in 1970 that he coined the term. In Japanese, it reads as Bukimi no Tani Gensho.
Bukimi no
Tani Gensho.
Bukimi no Kani
Tani Gensho.
Gansho.
Yeah. So it's the concept of creepiness. You know, when you start to make something realistic, at some point it looks human, but when it becomes too realistic, it becomes creepy. And yeah, that was the concept of the uncanny valley. Now, on your question, you know, I think that to really understand the future, I always like to study history because you know, human progress is not linear; it's cyclical. And you know, when the brother Lumiere, you know, created the camera, you know, at first they didn't know what to make of it, you know, because it was fun at first, you know, to go and shoot the train coming toward the camera, and people were afraid and would run out of the theater. But once the initial wow effect got, you know, people really didn't care about just saying people doing daily things. And one of the Lumiere brothers even told to his brother, you know, I don't think there is any future for this invention. It's useless. What can we do with it? And it took an American, you know, he came up with the idea of cutting film together and stitching it back. And he learned that you can get from one place to the other. And that was the birth of the shot, you know. And at that point, he made a movie, The Great Train Robbery, in 1923. And this event is more important than the camera, because that was the birth of cinema. And I think right now in AI, we are kind of in the same place. We have the engine, we have the camera. But we do not have yet the creative revolution. We do not have yet an AI film that people go and enjoy. So it's still a promise, you know, a very beautiful promise, and a lot of people are working to kind of crack the code, how to tell story with this new medium. So it's very speculative. We don't know yet what will happen, but we hope that people don't stop shooting films. And because, you know, I have been making a lot of AI, but sometimes I just want to take my camera, wake up at 5 in the morning and go catch the first light and shoot for my own pleasure. And I think it's important that people kind of keep that balance between, you know, generating image on the computer and going and shoot real pictures with a real camera. And the enjoyment shouldn't stop. And that's, I don't really like the term artificial intelligence, because artificial is very negative. You know, I prefer that we find a new term like machine intelligence or something else, because something that is artificial is negative. But I think that, yeah, the future looks bright, and especially for us in Africa, where there is a lot of budget limitation, a lot of societal limitation, like a lot of censorship. So, for example, it's hard to shoot 2 people kissing, but if you can generate it, it's more easy. Because you like finding two actors that concept to kiss on screen is very hard. But like if I want to make 2 Senegalese, a girl and a woman kissing, a girl and a man kissing, I can generate it, and it's more important. So it will open up a lot of new ways that we defy censorship, and that we fight against the gatekeeping of the film industry, because Senegal is very particular because it's an ancient French colony, and they still hold the reign of the film industry. Like if you want to make movie, you need to go to knock to their doors and ask money. But if you ask like money from a French company or from the the French embassy, you cannot be very critical because you took their money to make your movie. And I think once we get free out of that constraint, I think we will be more free. And so I think you can expect that with that new way of making films, you will also see very, very different type of films that are more free and independent. So thank you.
First of all, I think thank you for organizing this, because it's very helpful to hear from all over the world, because it's opening, it's eye opener for me to listen and understand the different contexts. Especially at a moment where we are afraid, because there's a kind of dystopian atmosphere all around the world, and people try to be very negative about change. But when you look from a different perspective, for example, theater, I mean, people playing on stage, it still exists, even if you have shows or cabaret or whatever. There are people learning to play physically, and in every form of arts, you still have people learning to play an instrument, even if you have synthesizers. You have, my daughter is taking lessons to try to control a guitar, and it's not easy, and it's a human experience. And I think that at the end of the day, what this experience is about is a human experience, and after the hours we'll spend with the machines, or we need to engage with humans, we need to be in real life, like we are today. And this is part of the experience. So my perception is that we are in fear, but we have to find a way to create an enhanced experience. This is a mix of technology, because we are using translations, but there's also something unique being together. And on a stage or in a room, when you watch for a movie, you hear someone shouting or crying, you feel it. You know, it's not something only on the screen. It's something that some magicians have created for you, and you share it and you feel it. So I think people at the end of the day will come back to this, or will try to protect this emotion, because it's something that comes from your parents, from your family, from your country, from your town, and it's very unique. And in that context, I think the cinema industry is really transformed by this technology, like an electricity or something creating a new dimension. So it's true that it will change the genre, because as if it is difficult in Senegal to show people kissing, in France, for some reason, they are developing very intimate films where on the contrary, you have a lot of people kissing each other, but you don't have a lot of action movies, you know. For some reason, in the 60s or in the 80s, there were a lot of action French. Some of the French stars were well known in the world, you know. Alain Delon was a star. But because of the success of Hollywood and because also of the weakness of the French industry, French people stopped to produce thrillers, to produce sci-fi, except Besson or others. So it's true that there's a new generation who's saying, well, now I can produce a sci-fi movie exactly like in Senegal. They say, you know what, this story costing 100, 200 million, I will do it because I now have the tool. So I think this is very positive at the end of the day, even if now we are frightened because we think about the jobs, we think about the fact that we are losing something with progress. And I think it's probably the question. There are also new jobs. Before there were planes, there were no pilots because nobody needed to control a plane. And now you have a lot of people working in this industry. So I think at the end we will not only survive, but we will reinvent ourselves with new stories. I mean, I was fascinated by this vertical drama. Some people are watching on their phone 1-minute stories. To me, it doesn't make sense. I like the industry. I like to go in a room and listen to participate into an experience of 60, 80 minutes. But some people in the metro, they love a story of 1 minute. And in India, they are already producing these stories in AI. and telling romantic stories in 1 minute, then they go out of the metro or whatever they do, and they enjoy that type of story. So I think we will invent new things. And for the French people, and for the people who have in Europe a very long tradition, a very heavy tradition, it's very difficult. It's easy. It's more difficult to move that tradition because people are resisting against change. You know, when you learn in France the theater, it's called conservatoire. It means that it's there to conserve the past. They don't want change, and they are fighting against new forms. It doesn't mean that you don't have a transformation, and because France is an old country, it's generally violent. That's why there's this story of revolution, because people are not good at finding the right balance and accepting, doing compromise. So it's at the moment it's very difficult, but then after they invent something new. So my perception is that after these conflicts and these difficult times, we'll have great stories to tell. We will have great stories to share. The example Dumble shared is true, that French institutions try to protect the French history. So if they give money to someone creating cinema, even if they are open-minded, they said, well, I don't know if my audience will like to hear that we have done this in the past. So they make a decision. Now, there will be other people, and you can also imagine, like the distribution question, that they will find another economy. You know, they will, when I mentioned the phone, how many phones are there in the world? So you imagine you build a community on a phone, you have a community to survive and to create an economic model, maybe, with people who are fan of science fiction or fan of, I don't know, anthropology, something that is not necessarily in the movie, the mindset of Hollywood. And then you find people that are ready to pay for a subscription for something different, you know. And so it's not because there is, let's say, pop music that opera is dead. Opera is there for centuries, and they found a way to adapt themselves. And I think the old arts will have to adapt itself or survive in a different way. But we, I think, have a huge opportunity just to enjoy something new. But the path is very difficult for the old countries, I think.
Well, at the moment, when I listen to the last 10 or 15 minutes, for me it's almost not believable what happens, what's going on in this world, because I'm not 25 anymore, and I really have problems to get along with the increasing AI thing. That's why I don't want a new mobile phone, because I probably wouldn't manage it. Yeah, well, that's from a person not that young anymore. It's cool, but I'm glad that I write the screenplays. Analog.
Analog way.
So I don't have anything to do with AI while I write it. And I'm glad, because I don't think I would manage it. And I'm glad that I have my husband, who is a few years younger, only a few, and is so much into AI. Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to say for the moment. Maybe there's something more in a few minutes.
Well, it's a very hard question to answer, but as Hussein told, and as what I witnessed during the past couple of years at the festival with flowing of the films from less developed countries, that with AI in near future, they can be a competition, not just with Hollywood. You know, there's no limitation on your imagination. So you can make a blockbuster with a laptop at your house. So it's possible that you can say it's a competition with Hollywood, but I think Hollywood will adapt and again will dominate. Don't worry about the Hollywood.
Can I answer provocatively saying actually AI is buying Hollywood? When you have someone like Larry Ellison, owner of Oracle, and his son and his daughter buying a Paramount studio for $8 billion, trying to buy Warner Bros. For I don't know how many $1 billion. It's true that their vision, with a technology-driven vision, will have some impact. But like you said, I'm not sure that the Hollywood people will let them do what they want, because the storytelling art is a very human quality. And I can't tell the name we were discussing yesterday with French Hollywood, French producers building an AI studio, but they are saying that the tech guys don't get it. They are, even if they buy Hollywood, it's not sure that they will succeed in creating these emotions we all crave for as human beings, because they are not built like that. They are tech guys, you know. So I hope that the fact that they own the studio, which is apparently what's happening, is not the end of movie, that they will have to change on their side to create something new. I don't know if you want to add, Hussein.
No, yeah, I think you are perfectly right. And now, for the first, and in the history, like each time that technology decide to conquer like art, they win. Like it's like Spotify, you know. And now, for the first time in history, Silicon Valley is, you know, attacking, I might say, Hollywood, and they have enough money to buy all of the studio. But I think that this, we shouldn't let it happen. I think people are fighting for, you know, the union is Hollywood, because there is a very strong and very valid filmmaking history and legacy in Hollywood. Despite all the bad things that we can say about Hollywood, there is still a mastery of the medium, and that it need to survive and it need to be saved, because no matter where we are all inspired by American films that are not always made by American, because Hollywood was created by a bunch of Polish people, American people, French people. They invented the way of writing stories, shooting them, even the equipment, you know. So I think it deserves to be saved, not destroyed.
皆さん、ありがとうございます。まずはお客様、本日はこうやってお越しいただいてありがとうございます。そしてパネリストの皆さんも本当に闊達なアイデアを出していただいてありがとうございます。今紹介いただいたように映画祭の代表であり、ファウンダーの別所哲也と申します。僕は個人的に俳優でもあるんで、 AI によって俳優で仕事を奪われるのかということもヒヤヒヤ冗談交じりではしてますけれども、このテクノロジーの進み具合というのはもう抗えない、必然だと思っています。ですからこそこういう、カンファレンスを、文化庁およびこの日本博の皆さんのお力も借りてですね、こうやって皆さんと現在位置を確認しながら未来について語り合う時間を設けたわけです。で、ご質問にあったことなんですけれども、これはそれぞれの例えば映画祭の主催者あるいはクリエイター、そして、私たちだけではなくみんなが決めていくことだと思います。私たちの映画祭がこうやって、AI の作品も公募でサブミッションで受け入れておりますので、まずは、どなたかがお話になっているようにその、編集製造の、マジック一つの工程における現在の AI がどれぐらいの分量入っているのか、フル AI であるのか、いろいろな議論はあると思うんですけれども、人間が作っているものと AI が作っているもの、あるいは人間が AI を道具として使って作っているもの、こういったものが混在して議論されていきながら作品が賞を与えられると、グランプリへと導かれるというものであっていいと思っています。これは原点はもう短く話しますけど、映画そのものがテクノロジーと切り離せないからです。エジソンが映画を発明して、 先ほども絵画と写真の話がありましたけれども、その後リュミエール兄弟がフランスのスクリーンに映し出したように、その後もたくさんのテクノロジーが、映画を支えています。ですからこの AI だけを切り離すことはできないと思っています。ただ、アメリカのアカデミー賞の私たち公認映画祭ですので、アカデミー賞がかつて映画館で上映されたものでないとアカデミー賞の中で資格クオリフィケーションがないと言ったり、カンヌ映画祭がじゃあこれから AI の作品をどう評価することになるのか、こういった世界の動向も確認しながら、私たちはテクノロジーとクリエイティビティの共存に関して前向きにみんなで議論しながら、お客様も含めてなんですけれども、作品選びをしていくと。ひょっとしたら映像作家という言葉、フィルムメーカーという言葉が今後は AI エンジニア、シネマエンジニア、ムービーエンジニアリング、カルチャーエンジニアリング、こういう言葉に置き換わっていくのかもしれないなとも思っています。
こちらの3つのポイントになります。今の現在の AI に関するものですね。やはり皆さんの言葉で多かったのは、最終的にはでもやっぱり人間性、ヒューマニズムをやっぱりちょっと感じるものではないと、やはりその映像、作品としての評価というものがだんだんなくなるんではないかという、そういう意見も多かったと思います。はい。はい、ありがとうございました。では改めて皆様10名の登壇者さんに、盛大なる拍手でお見送りいただければと思います。はい、本日はご参加ありがとうございました。